Has a new contender entered the chat in La Liga, and the Bundesliga is back with a bang.
Serie A's top spots are drawing more than Michelangelo, and that allows the top 5 teams to only be separated by 4 points. All this and more on this episode 106 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we're here with almost a full gang. Unfortunately, the Brainiac, he's out doing like grown-up stuff, dinners and stuff like that. You know, like when you say you're having a dinner, that's not a fun dinner. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm grabbing some brewskis with the boys. Like, no, he said he's having dinner. Anyway, enough of that. We'll tell you who is here, okay? Because we have Danny P on the ones and twos today, okay? And we got everybody's favorite hype man, Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, today I got that special edition of your Sazerac rye. This is your Sazerac rye, foolproof. And I know I already got clowned on because every time I have a whiskey, I always say it tastes like stewed cherries. This is more like a cherry Jolly Rancher. I mean, it tastes like glossy. You smell it. It smells a little bit like grass. You get that rye spice in there. It's absolutely delicious. Great for the price point as well. If you do find a bottle, definitely get it because they're selling out everywhere. But while I take a sip of this awesome elixir, go ahead and like and subscribe. It's the best way to tell YouTube, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to talk to every once in a while, and definitely helps out the channel. So appreciate it. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, man. Cheers. I did hear that. That was a great one. And yeah, today we're going to cover a lot. We didn't have a full slate. I keep thinking that we're going to have a full slate. I thought this weekend was it. It was not because, again, we had an FA Cup going on in England, a shortened stack of games in La Liga, but we do have a full slate in the Bundesliga as it returned and also Serie A. So I think without further ado, let's jump right in, Vic. Let's do it and go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A.
I just realized that I have my notes all wrong for Serie A, but I do have them. So give me 2 seconds and I will be with you shortly. Let's do this.
2.
Done right now. There's not a lot actually coming from Serie A. There's a transfer window open, as you know, in January. January to I think it's February 3rd is the window, February 2nd, something like that. But there are rumblings from the Roma camp that have them targeting Daniel Malin from Villa, who just went to Villa this past year after being with Dortmund for a bit. They're also targeting Radu Dragushin from Spurs, and a couple more are on the books. Seems like the Friedkin Group said enough with that Everton side. There's nothing going on with them except that big stadium. Let's go all in on Gasperini and Roma. But yeah, Roma, I've never seen a window where they're the biggest talk in town and said, yeah. So we'll see how that turns up because maybe they're closer than we think in that table. We'll find out in a second. Next piece of news. This one's crazy. A bizarre situation is unfolding in Serie A where the president of the Italian Referees Association, Antonio Zappi, has been suspended for 13 months. Zappi was accused of putting undue pressure on former Serie C designator Maurizio Chiampi and ex-Serie D designator Alessandro Pisi to resign from their positions in December 2024. This was so that he could bring in their replacements and move them into new roles as their contracts were still running. He urged them to resign instead. Now, you know, it's Italy. It could have been mafia stuff. We don't know. But either way, whole situation became even stranger because the ex-AIA associate who initially brought this matter to the prosecutor, he later denied having done so, claiming his identity was stolen. But the evidence was used anyway to begin the investigation. So weird stuff there. I think we can leave it at that. I think we could all make our own opinions. But yeah, crazy stuff going on in Serie A right now. Yeah. So Vic, let's jump in to the match day.
Let's do it. And let's jump into your Serie A match day 20. And we, of course, start with your top matches and headline, your No Business Soccer Podcast, top matches and headlines for Serie A match day 20. And our first match was two teams looking to climb into the top five. So getting a point apiece wasn't ideal as Como and Bologna draw 1-1.
Well, what a game. This was no, not really. I thought so, but it lacked in goals. It more than made up for in drama with the 10 men of Bologna almost pulling off the upset on the road against Como. Nicolo Cambiaghi scored for Bologna early in the first half, but was sent off in the 60th minute, which left Como up a man with plenty of time. Nico Paz hit the post. Penalties were given and taken away, and it all appeared to be over for Como until Martin Baturina hit a tremendous curling shot that nestled perfectly in the top corner. You like those words that I'm using? The goal sends the Como fans and the bench into a frenzy. It's a big point for both clubs, especially for Bologna being a man down for most of the second half. Como will take a point, but once the adrenaline dies down, Vic, I think they will they'll see this as points dropped rather than a point gained.
I think so. And our second match was our number ones, Inter welcoming number 3 Napoli, and it delivered everything but a knockout punch as they split the points, drawing 2-2.
It felt like a battle between two heavyweights, trading haymakers and fighting for that title. Inter got the lead early through DeMarco's goal in the 9th minute, and you just knew that it would make Conte and Napoli have to open up a bit earlier than they wanted to, or that they probably planned to. But of course, it's that bad Scottish man McTominay that levels it in the 26th, and it was all even until Mkhitaryan got stepped on in the box, and Hakan Çalhanoğlu buries a penalty in the 73rd minute. Conte boots a ball to the heavens. He gets sent off, and it felt like the game had slipped away from Napoli until McTominay said, "I'm not through scoring." He gets his brace, and in a week where the top 3 all drew, it's basically just allowed Roma to creep back into the title race. We'll find out here in a moment. McTominay, by the way, he's played in 178 Premier League games with United, or he played in 178 Premier League games with United, and he scored 19 goals and 4 assists across all of those 178 games. In his 2 seasons with Napoli in Serie A, so far only 52 games, he has scored 17 goals and has 9 assists. What a freaking incredible run. I would say terrible run, but that's not terrible. I would say tremendous run. Just a really good time for Scott McTominay. I don't know if you've seen the pictures. They were showing pictures of him versus him being in England versus him being in Italy. And the dude's getting some sun. His hair's growing out a bit. He's looking a little bit more handsome than he was old pale Scotland guy in Manchester.
Good for him. Good for him. Go and get some sun is never a bad thing. But those are your No Business Soccer podcast top matches for City on Matchday 20. Let's go ahead and dig into the rest of the match day. And Matchday 20 started with your No Business Soccer podcast match of the week. That was Como and Bologna. So we'll move right along to a mid-table battle as Udinese only able to scrape a point off of the bottom of the table, Pisa, as they draw 2-2.
If we didn't have matches with bigger stakes and a bigger profile, this one might have been the match of the week. Pisa are in the bottom 3, but went on the road and outshot Udinese and almost got 3 points. But it was Udinese who had 2 clear-cut chances in the 88th minute where the attacker just got his shot all wrong, or they could have probably and should have probably won this themselves. Either way, what an entertaining match between these two. Didn't have this one pegged as the match of the week going into it. Pegged.
And then Saturday continued with Roma getting a 2-0 win against the mid-table Sassuolo, and that makes them the only team in the top 4 to get a win.
And as we said in the preview, Roma had a great chance to make it back-to-back wins for the first time in a while. They made the Stadio Olimpico faithful sit patiently for the goals to come, but they finally did from Kone and Solé in the 76th and the 79th minute. Not that the match ever felt like it was in doubt. Just Roma absolutely dominated Sassuolo, and they needed this.
And Saturday ended with Atalanta making it 3 wins in a row with a 2-0 win against the visiting Torino.
I'll say it again. Don't look now, but the AT aliens are making a comeback. De Catalata made it 1-0 with the header early in the first half, and it stayed 1-0 for the entire match until late. But there was a moment in the 74th minute where Simeone for Torino was played right into a one-on-one with the keeper, and it all goes wrong. And then a stoppage time Pasalic goal. Pasalic gets free on a counterattack to get his goal, one-on-one with the keeper, the exact kind of scenario that Simeone did, except he finishes his. And that's the difference between these teams, a team that can get it done and a team that can do it every once in a while. But Atalanta, they are starting to heat up, folks. Watch out.
And then we moved on to Sunday as Parma are able to go on the road and get a 2-1 win against the Milkman Lecce.
From the first to the 57th minute, it felt like the Milkmen were finally going to get it done, but Banda gets sent off and it changed the entire game. Parma get the leveler from an own goal shortly after the red card, and the dagger comes from relentless pressure 10 minutes later. Good result for Parma, bad result for the Milkmen.
And our next match were our boys in purple, Fiorentina, able to get a point off number 2 Milan as they draw 1-1.
That's right. Our Fiorentina got so unlucky to not get 3 points here. It was a close match, and they finally broke the deadlock in the 66th minute, but Milan continued to try and get back into the game, and the goal came for them in the 89th minute to break Fiorentina's hearts. And heading into stoppage time, it felt like it would be a chore just to hold on to the point, but they had a shot hit the crossbar. This is Fiorentina. Had a shot hit the crossbar in stoppage time, and they earn a point. Not a bad result against a top team in Milan in the Serie A. But Genoa also drew, so it keeps the Viola in the bottom 3 for now. But it was a very, very close match. I was watching it live, and I honestly felt like our Viola were going to get it done, Vic. Did not happen, though. Let me just flew past my face, by the way. I'm not just like randomly waving.
I'll get Next up was Lazio being able to grit out a 1-0 win against the lowly Verona.
Yeah, not much to say here. It wasn't a pretty win, but our Lazio get it done against the bottom of the table team. It's a clean sheet on the road, and it's 3 points. Can't ask for too much more.
And Sunday ended with our other No Business Soccer podcast match of the week that we already talked about, which was Inter and Napoli. So we move on to our Monday night football doubleheader, and it was a great Monday night for home teams as our first match was Cagliari going on the road and getting sent home with an L, losing 3-0 to Genoa.
Genoa get a massive win in the relegation battle as De Rossi's men took care of business against Cagliari at home, and it just feels like De Rossi has this team turned around.
And if you thought that was bad, Matchday 20 ended with your No Business Soccer podcast Serie A belt-to-ass match as Juve wallop Cremonese 5-0 and ensuring Cremonese has a long, silent bus ride back home.
That's right. It was they said, hold my beer to Genoa's 3-0. Watch this. Not only did Juve get 3 points and a clean sheet, but the 5 goals juiced up their goal differential to where they now jump up a few spots into third place. I'm not going to steal a thunder because we'll see a very cool looking table. Oh, no, never mind. Wrong league. We'll see a table here in a second. But anyway, not a good night for Vardy's Cremonese. And Weston McKennie gets back on the score sheet. USA. 5 goals in 5 different goal scorers for Juve. Albeit one of those was an own goal, but still counts as a different goal scorer.
And those are your that's your match day 20 matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the table, and you will see up on top is your boys Inter Milan. They have 43 points. Again, in the number 1 spot. Behind them is the other Milan, AC Milan. They have 40 points. Sorry, my thing is freaking out right now. I don't know why it's doing this. Sorry, 40 points in the number 2 spot. And then from 3, 4, and 5, we are all tied up at 39 points. That is Napoli in the number 3 spot, Juve in the number 4 spot, and then Roma sneaking in, tickling the top 4 in the number 5 spot. Of course, only on goal differential. They all have 39 points, and yeah, it is getting tough up there. I was telling my boy Christian today, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm getting into Serie A a little bit more because it's you know, it's getting pretty cool up there. And Bundesliga is gone, like, you know, Prem is pretty much almost gone. But yeah, this is fun. This is really fun to watch.
I just have to call this out, though. I don't know I think you did the table before Juve's win, because what I'm seeing is that their goal differential is higher than Napoli, and they passed them in the table. Maybe I'm wrong. I did. You tell me.
Maybe I did. I thought I did it today. Let me check.
The only reason I bring it up is because someone's going to be like, "What? That's wrong."
No, I did it after. Yeah, because they're at 20 games. Yeah, they're right behind 19? Napoli. Napoli's at the 13 goal difference. Oh yeah, I have no idea. They're still behind. Maybe they go different on Serie A. If you guys know why Juve is number 4,
why is this happening?
I have no idea why. Unless they go for goals for. No, not even. That is not even it. I have no idea.
Maybe it's head to head or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, where's our producer? Where's the?
I know our research guy is gone right now. But anyway, yeah, Google has it as Juve above Napoli. ESPN has it as Napoli above Juve. Either way, it's not going to stay this way for a while. I just wanted to see if I was wrong or what was going on with that. But either way,
yeah, you said third earlier. Yeah, you said third earlier, and I was like, huh. Did I do that wrong?
Bologna has me, or Bologna. Why did I read Bologna? Google has me messed up right now. But anyway, Yeah. Cool stuff at the top of the table.
Yeah, not only a tough, tight race on top, but it's also a tight race on bottom. As our boys in purple, Fiorentina have the 18th spot. They have 14 points, and they are just 1 point ahead the bottom two, which is Elis Verona and Pisa. They both have 13 points apiece in the 19th and 20th spot, respectively. And yeah, a one win gets them out of relegation. Well, not really. It still need Lecce to lose, but either way, number 20 through number 17 is still only 4 points spread apart, just like 1 through 5 are just 4 points away from each other. So it's going to be interesting, and this is why I'm starting to like Serie A.
Right. Yeah.
This is pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
There's not as many goals as other leagues, but the parity in the table is insane, especially this season. I mean, this is crazy. It's going to be a fun end to the season. But before we get out of here, as far as the Serie A is concerned, we do have a little shortened midweek match day going on, midweek madness, as we like to call it. We have Napoli against Parma. This is on Wednesday. Napoli versus Parma, Inter versus Lecce. So not some, bangers. But then we also get Verona and Bologna on Thursday. And then the big one, 1:45 Thursday, January 15th. Como take on Milan in Como. So that one should be a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, that one's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, two of the top. I'm scared to say what the teams are now, but Como, what are they? 6. So yeah, top 6 matchup in Serie A on a Thursday night. Gonna be fun. Okay, I think we said it all, Vic. Time to move on. Let's go to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
Oh man, the Bundesliga, they had a lot of goals this weekend. It was awesome to see, just like brightened up my mood. It was just a bad weekend overall for sports for your boy Snooze over here. But Spurs lost, the Packers lost. Just not a good time. But the Bundesliga was so fun. Every match just had banger after banger. I think I saw the average for the matches in Bundesliga Matchday 16 was 4 goals per match. Just freaking crazy. Of course, that was juiced up by a couple of games. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But let's jump into the news and notes from around the Bundesliga. St. Pauli versus Leipzig and Werder Bremen versus Hoffenheim were both called off due to weather in Germany. In Hamburg, where St. Pauli are, on top of emergency services requesting the postponement. The accumulation of snow on the roof of the stadium was making for unsafe conditions, and they didn't have enough time to get it all cleared before the match because it came on Friday night, I believe is what happened. In Bremen, ice around the concourse made it impossible to continue with the game as they rescheduled. It says they will be rescheduled shortly, according to the Bundesliga. But up until today, I have not seen that those matches have been rescheduled. But I imagine they'll be thrown in somewhere. And similar to Serie A, they do have a midweek madness. So it can't be this week. So we'll check in with those games later on. But Vic, let's jump into Matchday 16.
Let's do it. Let's jump into Matchday 16. Welcome back, Bundesliga. And we will, of course, start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Matchday 16. And our first match was a slobber knocker as Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Dortmund light up the scoreboard, but only take home a point apiece, drawing 3-3.
We got exactly what we were looking for from these two teams in the opening match of the Bundesliga. It was back and forth, trading goal after goal. But when Mohamed Dahoud scored for Eintracht in the 92nd minute against his old club, you felt the energy of that crowd in Frankfurt and knew that was it. That was the winner. But that's not where things turned around. God, I butchered that. Until Chukwuemeka levels it for Dortmund 4 minutes later in the 96th minute, and they split the points. Not exactly the start that either side would have wanted, but you got to feel bad for Eintracht Frankfurt as they were so nearly there, and they need it way worse than Dortmund does.
And our second match was Stuttgart going on the road to put a whooping on Bayer Leverkusen 4-1.
Now that is how you kickstart the back half of the season. Stuttgart had it all wrapped up by halftime as they went into the break up 4-0, and this was in Leverkusen. Don't forget, for Stuttgart's side have been struggling in the Bundesliga recently, and the fact that Sebastian Hoeneß had never beaten Leverkusen with Stuttgart, this feels like a result that can reset them and get them back on track in the Bundesliga. Leverkusen, on the other hand, showed a lot of issues defensively, and if they're going to get back in the Champions League next season, they'll need to clean that up because Stuttgart is coming for their spot.
And lastly, your number one somehow getting stronger after the winter break. Jesus, as Bayern Munich earned yet another No Business Soccer podcast certified belt to ass match as they embarrass Wolfsburg 8-1.
Yeah, I wasn't going to put this one as a top match headline because it was such a bad match for one-sided match, I guess I should say. But how could you not? And there's not a lot to stay here. When we told y'all in September that this is over. The Bundesliga champions were crowned back in the fall, but the Bavarian Bullies, they saw fit to go in and put 8 past Wolfsburg anyway, just to make sure we didn't forget. It was crazy because after the first goal for Bayern in the 5th minute, Wolfsburg scored in the 13th, and you thought for a split second maybe this game would be close, but no, it was not. And there's no wonder. I wonder what this does to the old goal differential for Bayern, because I mean it was already massive before, so I can only imagine what it is now. I didn't cheat though because I knew we have the table coming up from our boy Hype Man Vic. But this wasn't just a game that Wolfsburg sucked in. Yeah, they were bad, but it was also Bayern being a world-class team with world-class players all over the pitch. And what a team this is! They did lose to Arsenal recently in the Champions League, but I just feel like they're hitting their stride right now, and they don't even have Jamal Musiala yet. Yet, you know.
Yeah, they look absolutely outstanding. But those are your No Business Soccer podcast top matches for Bundesliga Matchday 16. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day, and it started on Friday. But Friday was your No Business Soccer podcast top match, which was Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Dortmund. So we move along to Saturday as Heidenheim looked to climb out of the relegation zone. So any points will help, and at this time it comes at the expense of our cute little mascot. As Heidenheim, get a point and draw with Cologne 1-1.
Hey, update. Look at that cool shirt you have there, bud. Look at that.
The boy came through.
Yeah. So, yes, Cologne. Oh, there you go. Hey, you got the big screen. Lift that shirt up. Let's see.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey. That's my boy right there.
Where this is sleep.
I would say that might not be the most comfortable shirt to sleep in, but either way, Cologne couldn't get all 3 points from Heidenheim, but in a game that was 2-1 double H going into halftime, it was a fair result. Crazy thing was, watching the match, Cologne felt like the more experienced and established Bundesliga side, even though they just got promoted again this season, and Heidenheim have been there for a while, but our little goats that could, Cologne, whichever we want to call them, they're just taking away, getting some points here and there. I think they're I don't want to jinx it, but I think they're definitely staying up. I think the matter is how far they can get up that table.
Yeah, and I said 1-1 they drew, but it was actually 2-2. I don't know why I said that, but our next 2 matches we had, as Snooze said, were the news this week. They were postponed due to the snow. So let's go on to Freiburg being able to get 2 in a row as they beat the visiting Hamburg.
Freiburg battled back after going a goal down to take all 3 points and are now on back-to-back wins and starting to look better in the table. It's a tough one for Hamburg, though, who probably thought they were going to hang on for a point here, but it was not meant to be. And Freiburg, the Black Forest boys, starting to come back.
And where did this thing go? I don't know where my points are, or where my notes are for this one. But the next one was Union Berlin being able to only get 1 point off the lowly Mainz as they draw 2-2.
Mainz went up 2-0 thanks to goals from Amiri and Benedikt Hollebach, or as we call him here at the No Business Soccer Podcast, we call him Dr. Strange. And it felt like that was enough until Union stormed back with goals in the 77th and the 86th minutes to split the points. So it's 3 straight draws for Mainz as they continue to claw themselves out of the bottom of the table. But this one really should have been 3 points because it felt like this was Mainz. They were up 2-0, right? So, right, Dr. Strange scores. This should be 3 points in the bag, but they let Union back in, and it just speaks to where their defense is at the moment. Side note, by the way, number 7 for Mainz, Jay Lee. I don't know his full name, but I know it's just Jay Lee. He was balling out there. He got an assist for the first goal and the pre-assist for the second. You know, the pre-assist is like the assist to the assister, and it was just looking good out there. Might have to keep my eye on him. He's a little baller.
And our last match of Saturday was your other No Business Soccer podcast match of the week. That was Leverkusen and Stuttgart. So we move on to Sunday, as we had Borussia Mönchengladbach being able to dismantle Augsburg 4-0.
He will never pass up an opportunity to say Borussia Mönchengladbach. Gladbach got out to a 3-0 lead at halftime and never looked back. Augsburg weren't much of a threat to them at all, and they find themselves now only 2 points clear of the drop zone. Man, Augsburg, not a good look. I remember earlier this season, they were doing fine, and now look at them, only 2 points clear of the drop zone.
And our last match of Sunday was your other No Business Soccer podcast, belt to ass match that our lawyers tell us we legally have to call a game, which was Bayern Munich beating Wolfsburg 8-1. And that's it for your match day 16. It's good to have Bundesliga back. And let's take a look at the table. I'll tell you what, it's going to look very familiar up top as you have your champions, reigning, defending champions, Bayern Munich up top. They have 44 points after 16 games played. What is that, out of 48, right? Or 46, I don't even know. But
games for them?
Yeah. 16 games and 3. Yeah, 48. They have 44 points. Crazy. But they're in the number 1 spot. They have 44 points. They are 11 points clear of Borussia Dortmund in the number 2 spot with 33 points. RB Leipzig are in the number 3 spot with 29. Did I say they're in 3 spot? They're in the 3 spot with 29 points, tied with Bayer Leverkusen and, of course, Stuttgart also with 29 points in the 4th and 5th spot, respectfully. So the remaining of those European competition spots are getting pretty fun to watch as well. Of course, I'm pretty sure we can wrap up the championship. But
yeah, championship's gone, but the rest of the spots, that looks nice.
That's looking fun. Not so fun for these teams on the bottom as Heidenheim take your number 17 spot. They have 12 points. They would be one of the first teams relegated. If the season ended today, they are only followed by the lowly Mainz, who still have not broken double digits. They have 9 measly points in the 18th spot. I will say Heidenheim and St. Pauli are tied, though. St. Pauli are taking up the number 16 spot, which would be a playoff for relegation. So, yeah, all those teams looking desperately for some. They all got draws. They all picked up a point this weekend. But if you're one of them, it's a bad time for all of y'all to get a point.
Exactly. Yeah, no one did anything, essentially, is what that means.
Yeah, sucks. Well, that's it. That's your match day 16.
Welcome back. I mentioned, we get a double helping of the Bundesliga because they have match day 17 right around the corner. And we're going to talk about it right now. We won't go into too much depth. We'll talk about the games coming up at the weekend. But just to cover it real quick, some of the headliners in this match day, we have Stuttgart taking on Eintracht Frankfurt, and 2 teams that came out of the break looking really, really good. I'm excited to see that one as tomorrow. Well, okay, let me do the math here. Tomorrow for them, this is coming out on Tuesday, so that would be it'd be today for y'all. Why was that so hard for my brain to do? Anyway, we also get Leipzig versus Freiburg, which will be Freiburg, they came back, got that win. Leipzig, they had a postponement. How do they come out of the break? We'll find out. But Freiburg seemed to have some momentum already. Should be a good one. And, of course, our little ghost that could take on Bayern. That should be a good one, too. Yeah, man. Some decent games that we're watching this midweek madness for the Bundesliga, which is match day 17. Man, we are getting up there. Feels like the seasons go by so fast. It's like the year, you look back and it's like, dang, it's already 2026. It's already midway through January, Vic. What the heck is going on?
That was quick.
My daughter's already walking. Like, this is what is time, man? Yeah. What is time? Okay. Well, let's do it. Moving on to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
Yes, sweet, smooth sounds of La Liga in the air. So let's get into it, Vic. That's just like makes you chill, you just want to have some wine and some chorizo.
I feel it. I feel it every time.
Jamon. How about that? That's better than chorizo. Whatever. All right. News and notes from around La Liga. The Spanish Super Cup ends with Barcelona once again defeating Real Madrid in a cup final. It's their 3rd consecutive cup final win over Real Madrid, which has never happened before. Barca, with their squad of La Masia products, are showing that they're going to be a thorn in Madrid's side for years to come. But as they grow, this might be one of the scariest teams we've seen in a while. The race for La Liga is not locked up yet, but I think the bigger test for this Barcelona side will be in the Champions League, where they're going to have to show their medal. Is that the word? Medal? but it's not metal as in metal. It's like metal.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know the word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They're going to show their metal. It just doesn't sound right. Anyway, according to other news, Enzo Maresca, fresh off of being sacked or let go or walking out of Chelsea, not quite sure what he did there. But anyway, he could be taking charge of Real Madrid after breaking news. Xabi Alonso was sacked today, which is just insane. Or maybe it was earlier today. Maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember at this point, but it's just crazy because there was rumblings that this was going to happen months ago as he wasn't getting along with Vinicius Jr. and some other parts of the team. But because he was such a high profile coach, it was kind of like swept under the rug. Like, yeah, he's going to get it. Y'all just fall in line. But they just continued. And there just was problems after problems. And I'm not saying necessarily that their results weren't great, but whenever it's obvious that you can't beat Barcelona because he's lost to them, I would think this is the fifth time, something like that. He's showing that he can't beat Barcelona. Of course, they're going to make some changes because that's the priority if you're Real Madrid manager, and he is sacked. So Enzo Maresca could be taking that job. And if he isn't, or I guess I should say, the dream signing, according to these reports, is none other than Liverpool ex-boss Jurgen Klopp. He is the quote-unquote dream candidate for Los Blancos at the moment if they can pry him from the executive suites over in Leipzig. Vic, how would you feel about that? Pretty cool? Not cool?
Okay. Be a little weird, but
be a little weird.
Yeah. It's like I'd have to have a step team or something like that for our boys. Yeah, right? My boy Jurgen. Yeah,
but I mean, how much? It's crazier to think Enzo Maresca could be the manager there. Dude was at Leicester 2 years ago. He was at Chelsea for a little bit, wins 3 titles, and then he just becomes the Madrid manager. Like, that's crazy. So we'll see if it happens, but that's just rumblings. And then also more corruption with the referees, or at least some alleged stuff going on in La Liga. Also, the long-running legal battle between Sorry, let me start that again. The long-running legal battle because of payments from Barca to businesses owned by the head of refereeing from 2001 to 2018 came to light over the holidays with Barca president Joan Laporte and past Barca managers Luis Enrique, now manager PSG, and Ernesto Valverde, now manager of Athletic Club, all being called to the stand to provide testimony. Of course, the Real Madrid side is claiming corruption and collusion. It's hard to see the facts and not think that something weird was going on. But according to this article that I read in Athletic, the court case and judicial hearing for this may take years to resolve. So don't expect anything soon, but just very weird. Barca providing money to companies owned by the head of referee. What's the point? What would be a good reason for that you could be like, oh yeah, we just, it was just a charity, right? Like there's just no way that you can do that. If I was Madrid, I would be on this like a white on rice.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. And right? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like, I knew something was up. Let's keep doing this. There's something going on.
Right? Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out in a couple of years, apparently. All right. That's it for the news and notes around La Liga. Vic?
All right, let's go ahead and dive into Matchday 19. And of course, we'll start off with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 19. And your top match was Villarreal being able to keep a firm yet quiet grasp on the number 3 spot as they beat Alaves 3-1.
It was business as usual for Villarreal, who are on fire right now. All of the goals they scored were great, but the third goal was a masterclass. The way that Alberto Molero turned to get loose and sprinted up the pitch, the assist and the chip from Mikatadze, just incredible stuff to watch. It's like poetry in motion, as they say. Go check it out. The only blemish was some sloppy passing out from the back late in the game. It allowed Alaves to get a goal back, but overall, great result for Villarreal. And as I mentioned in our intro to this show, I think they might have just played themselves into a dark horse type of role. Race. Why couldn't I remember that name?
Well, we will see. And that is your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup for match day 19. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. And it started Friday with the battle for 11th place. And it went to Real Sociedad as they get the 2-1 road win against Getafe.
It had it all. I had this all written up already about how Getafe were such a scrappy side that stayed in the fight until the end. And after they leveled it in the night, or this was after they leveled it in the 90th minute, because they had just done the similar song and dance to Rayo a week ago. But Real Sociedad are different under Matarazzo, American Matarazzo, and they have a fire and fight in their eyes, and they did not give up after going down late in this game. They get a stoppage time goal, get 3 points, and that's 4 points from his first 2 games in charge. And I'm talking about Pellegrino Matarazzo and his Real Sociedad, because they played Atleti last week and they get that draw. Next up is Big Bad Barca. But I mean, think about it, Vic. If Pellegrino Matarazzo, I like saying that whole name, if he can lead La Real to even stay within fighting distance of Barcelona in this match, I think our American coach, we're all in, because this is crazy. I was checking out an article where they were saying that Real Sociedad, the way that their history and their status inside La Liga is so massive that this is one of the biggest jobs that he's had. And I mean, I don't disagree. And I have to correct myself. And, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna man up and say it, because I was saying this guy probably doesn't even speak English and blah, blah, blah. And they're calling this an American coach. Not that I was against it. It was just like, no one's really heard of him. Like, and no one's seen a lot of interviews and things with him, or at least I hadn't up to this point. And I know how they usually do, where they say like, it's like a backhanded American, if that makes sense, where they're like, oh yeah, the American, when he's born in London and he's playing for, you know, that kind of stuff. And so in my mind, I was twisted. I was like, this guy, I think he grew up in Germany. I don't think he was like raised in America. I was wrong. He was raised in New Jersey. He went all the way through high school, and then he went to college in somewhere in the States. And then after college, he tried to be a professional in Italy and it didn't work out too much. He ended up getting a coaching role in Germany. That's how he got his coaching start. And so, yeah, the dude's straight up American. I watched the interview and he's speaking. He sounds like he's from New Jersey. So my bad, Pellegrino Matarazzo. I did not know your game. And we're all in here at the No Business Soccer Podcast. La Real Sociedad. That's like our pet team now. We're putting a little No Business hat on them. We don't have hats yet, but if we did, Vic, we would. So anyways, had to get that off my chest.
Yeah. We'll put a screaming eagle sound effect every time we bring them up. All right, we got you guys. But let's go ahead and talk about that was your No Business Soccer Podcast top match for match day 19 in La Liga. Let's talk about the rest of the match day. And it started Saturday with bottom of the table Oviedo getting a tough 1-1 draw against Real Betis.
There's no question here that this is points dropped for Real Betis. Wow, that came out real bad. Anyway, there's no question that is points dropped for Real Betis. I have no idea how they didn't score in the first half, as they continuously dominated Oviedo, pressing them high up the pitch, causing mistake after mistake. But Cucho for Betis couldn't make the shots count. He had a hell of a game. He just couldn't get that finishing touch, that clinical touch, and a counterattack in the 64th minute. Had a great long-range finish from Chaida, who plays for Oviedo, just in case you didn't know. That put the home team up 1-0, completely against the run of play. Anthony links up with Lo Celso in the 83rd minute to salvage a draw, but what a wasted opportunity for Betis to try to close the gap to the top 5. Overall, just not a bad game for Betis, just a disappointing result, I guess we can call it.
Yes, and then Saturday continue with your No Business Soccer Podcast top match of the week. That was Villarreal and Alaves. So we move on to Girona, welcoming the visiting Osasuna and giving them an L to take home as Girona gets the 1-0 win.
Girona did, in fact, continue their push to get out of the relegation scrap. It was Mallorca last weekend, and now it was Osasuna. It was a standard 1-0 win, but things popped off when Koroma for Girona tackled Aymar for Osasuna, and Aymar did not like it one bit. He kind of threw his arm around him and kept him down as he was trying to get up, and it was on. He pushed his shoulder into him. He put his knee into his chest. Benches cleared. It was really cool to see. But either way, Girona hold on for the win, and they are starting to pick up some momentum.
And then Saturday ended with Valencia and Elche battling hard, but have to split the points as they get a goal apiece, a point apiece, drawing 1-1.
It didn't turn out to be the shootout that I'd hoped, but it was decently entertaining either way. Valencia took a ton of shots out there, but not a lot was on target. And it was Elche who scores first before Valencia leveled it through a late penalty. And yes, Valencia did get a point, but the fans were still booing, kind of. They were not happy at the end of the match.
And then we move right along to Sunday, as Rayo Vallecano breathe a sigh of relief as they get back in the win column, beating Mallorca 2-1.
All the action played out in the first half of this one with all 3 goals being scored before the break. Rayo holds on for the win, and it was a well-deserved win as they dominated Mallorca in shots and shots on target. It was Rayo's first win in a while in La Liga. Mallorca now just 1 point above Valencia in 17th.
And then our other Sunday match were a surging Levante being able to get a point off your number 5 Espanyol, drawing 1-1.
Gotta say, it was a disappointing result for Espanyol as they can only split the points with Levante, who are 19th. And they only led this game for 2 minutes before Levante caught their defense sleeping with their goal. It would have been really cool to see Espanyol back in Europe, and not saying would have as in it can't happen. It's just they're not playing how they were earlier in the season, but bigger clubs don't slip up against relegation candidates like this and still make it into Europe. So we will find out how it ends, but just a disappointing Sunday for Espanyol. I almost said Saturday, but it was on Sunday.
I just said Sunday. I emphasize it so much.
I know, right?
Well,
my wife says I don't listen either, so.
Yeah, she's right. Well, we then moved on to Monday Night Football as a foot stomp allows a penalty, and it's the difference maker for Celta Vigo as they beat Sevilla 1-0.
Sevilla lose at home again, this time at the hands of Celta Vigo, as Vic just said, who are on a hell of a run in La Liga. They got their 4th win in 5 games and are now right outside of the European places. It's 3 losses for Sevilla, 3 losses in a row for Sevilla in La Liga, and they're only 3 points outside of the drop zone. It's just still crazy to even talking about Sevilla in this way after they had been so dominant for so long. As far as one of the top teams in La Liga. Sergio Ramos, though, he can't come soon enough for the Sevilla side as they are free-falling in La Liga.
Yes, sir, and that is it for your match day 19 in La Liga. Let's go ahead and take a look at the table. I messed up, though. The table still says 18. My bad. Just use your imagination and say 18. Say 19. But you'll see very familiar on top as you have Barcelona on top. They have 49 points, taking up the number 1 spot. Real Madrid are right behind them with 45 points in the number 2 spot. And I said earlier, Villarreal just quietly being in the number 3 spot. They're only 4 points out of the number 2, 8 points out of taking over for Barcelona, which is, not likely, but not impossible. So we'll see. We'll see
and a game back still, though, right? That's why I said dark horse.
Also a game in hand. You were right. Yeah. But they're in the number 3 spot, still trying to surge up and climb. And then rounding out our top 4 is Atletico Madrid with 38 points. And then tickling our top 4 is the Espanyol side. A little bit disappointed this past weekend. They have 34 points, trying to get into those Champions League spots. And then we take a look at the bottom of the table. You'll see Valencia there in the number 18 spot with 17 points. They'd be the first team relegated if the season ended today. And then you have, like I said, the surging Levante in number 19 spot. And that's because they are undefeated in their last 3. One of them being a win, 5 points out of their 14 coming in the last 3 match days. So good on them. They're doing their best to climb out of this relegation zone.
Getting it.
Yeah. And then also Oviedo. If you just squint your eyes, you can see that they haven't lost there at the in the last 3 weeks. Actually, 4 of the last 5 have been draws. Wanting to get some wins, but they still are a solid foundation for La Liga. They have 13 points in the number 20 spot. And they're all looking pretty good right now. There's not as much red as you see at the bottom of their tables.
Well, yeah, that is true because I'm looking at the red and the gray. We're talking about losses and draws here, just in case someone's listening. Just like, what are they talking about? But the draws happened at the bottom of the table, and they got a point on everyone above them from 14 to 17. But man, if you're only getting points here and there, it's going to take a lot of weeks to make that happen. You got to get a win every once in a while. I got to go for it. But Vic, while you were talking, I was trying to figure out who does Villarreal have on that game in hand. And it turns out it's Levante because they're the only 2 teams that have 18 games played. So it looks like, you can never say something is for sure, but let's just say that it's a win. 44 points. Only 1 point back from Real Madrid. Hey.
The last 3 games, Villarreal has 6 points and Levante has 5. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like I said,
it's nothing's given. I'm trying to figure out who. Let's see. I haven't even looked at the schedule for next week. I'm excited now. I want to see. Oh, Betis Villarreal at the weekend. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Vic, I think that's it. We did it all. We said it all. No more news and notes. We can bring up the FA Cup real quick. I'm not going to go through all the results. Some of the big clubs, they played each other and they lost. Maybe one of them was Spurs and they lost to Aston Villa, something like that. But the main thing that I want to talk about, Macclesfield, or what are they called? Macclesfield? What was that?
Yeah, the upset.
Yes, it was.
They beat Crystal
Palace, the holders. But I'm trying to remember their name. I can't remember if it's Macclesfield or Mackerfield. What? Anyway, if someone's watching this, they're like, what the heck?
Macclesfield. Yeah.
Macclesfield. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Macclesfield. Yeah, Macclesfield. They are like sixth tier of English football. Everyone in there is part-timers. I saw a video of one of their defenders. He's a sub teacher. Or some kind of teacher. He was walking into class and they were like cheering him on because he had to go back to work like after beating Crystal Palace. That is crazy. So that was pretty cool.
Also Google doesn't even have a badge for them. It's just a white plain shield. That's all it is. They don't have a badge.
We Love Island putting a lot of
Love
Island. Oh,
Danny
Love
Island
yeah.
winner.
I saw that. I saw that. There's a bunch of people from like they were given their jobs and stuff. And one of them was a Love Island winner. That's pretty cool. Look at that. But then also Wrexham FC beat Nottingham Forest on penalties, but they made it happen and going on to the next round, beating. I think it was the first time they beat a Premier League opposition since the 90s, something like that. Which still is weird to say the 90s, and that's like a long time ago. 90s. That was just yesterday. A lot of big results going on. There are a lot of goals being scored too. I want to make sure I got the score right before I say it because I saw it and it was just like, there's no way. Manchester City put 10 past
Exeter City, whatever that is.
Exeter City, yes. Yeah. 10 goals. Like that is ridiculous. They had no mercy for them. Overall, good cup watch if you're watching some FA Cup. And I don't think there's anything else we need to cover. Right? Thinking about it, I feel like this went by really quick. Whatever. We can end it soon. Nick, before we jump out of here, though, we have some midweek match day stuff going on. We have a lot of cool things happening. We're also putting out some content from us being overseas and going to some games. So go check those out as well. Some vlogs. We're dabbling in it. We are tickling. Did we say that? I don't know. So go check those out as well. A lot of fun. We have fun putting those together too. So we'll talk to you all soon. Vic, take us on.
All right, well, everyone, thank you for taking some time out of your day, morning, evening to talk about some European football. Be sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast except for TikTok, except for Twitter or X, if that's what you want to call it. Those are at No Biz Soc Pod. As Snooze said, we put out a vlog on Snooze's trip over to the Basel and Aston Villa game. So please check that out. We might have another vlog coming out for you pretty shortly. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe. Everyone, enjoy the football this midweek matchup, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Peace.